What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shadicstick dropping some hot Faraga on this mic. Today we'll be discussing the latest Pokemon DLC and why I believe it's nowhere near as bad as some people are making out to be, and why it's even good for the game. Before we start though, it'd be appreciated if by the end of this video you could hit the subscribe button, as your boy's trying to hit that sweet 4K by the end of the month, so please help a brother out. He's only 200 subs away. But anyways, let's get started. Alright, at a surface level, this may look really bad, like really bad, after the mess that was the base game, but let me explain. All of the Pokemon are being added to the game for free. While yes, you have to pay to access the areas that the Pokemon will be in, the Pokemon can be traded to you by others or be brought back from previous games via Pokemon Home, which is what people wanted. Before we go on, I'd like to say that most games in the series run off of the idea of bringing old Pokemon from previous games over in order to complete your Pokedex. So getting upset that you can't catch them in the base game, or at least all of them in the base game, doesn't have a basis. So while yes, you technically have to pay to catch them, you don't have to pay for them to be added to the game or have access to them. I will say I would rather have all the Pokemon, but in this case, it just seems like the smartest decision to go to by compromising. And more so with the additions that we are seeing, it looks like they're doing a lot to revamp these old Pokemon. You recently got Galarian Slowpoke and Galarian versions of the legendary birds, which look amazing. But let's move on to the next section. Alright, let's talk about just the content and variety in the base game. While yes, the base game had a bad story, it is bad, this doesn't mean the addition of new story content means it was cut. This is just conspiracy levels of speculation here. Yes, Sword and Shield had a very lackluster story and content overall, with there not being much in the way to do in the wild area and the game feeling like it's a lot more restricted than it was presented to be. But the addition of this new content rectifies these issues. On top of this, both of the expansions are completely open world, i.e. the wild area, with them being as open, if not more so, than the wild area with free range camera control, something we wanted in the base game, the ideal Pokemon experience. I just think they took this route to avoid a trend we had in the past, and that will be my next point. I think because of this DLC, we're not getting a third game, which is good. I don't know why, but people would rather have this have been a third game or an Ultra Sword or Ultra Shield, and that just seems so stupid to me. Instead of creating another full price $60 Pokemon release that contains much of the same base content, they decided to go the DLC route, which is cheaper and allows them to release updates individually instead of all at the same time. It always annoyed me in the past that I had to buy a whole new game just to get what was essentially an expansion of just DLC. It just makes no real sense to have a third game in the modern era unless they release one that's basically just the base game with the DLC added as a special edition of some sorts. Alright, so in conclusion, while yes, the base game was not what it should have been, easily being the most disappointing and lackluster game in the series, at least Game Freak and the Pokemon Company listen. Alright, hear me out on this one. Pokemon Sword and Shield came out in November. The first DLC comes out over half a year after the original game, with the next one coming out almost a year after the release. It's extremely obvious based off of this and the lack of gameplay shown in the trailer that they just started working on this DLC. I highly doubt this is straight up all cut content just to resell. Yes, some of the Pokemon are in the data for Sword and Shield, but that's mostly because they're using reused 3DS models and had no reason to release the game with as little Pokemon as they had. I'm not trying to justify or defend the base game, because if you've watched my channel, almost every video I've released on Pokemon Sword and Shield have been negative, pointing out all the flaws in the game. Even in my review, I tell people the game is not worth its price tag. It is not good. And I would go on about how disappointed I was or how disappointed the things I was seeing were in all of those videos. It's 2020. The game developer can go back and fix their game. I would rather they do so. It seems like Game Freak is genuinely trying to go back and fix their game. And while I can still say that the future of the core Pokemon series doesn't look super bright, it's looking a little better than it was before. So, how do you feel about this situation? I'd like you to tell me down in that comment section below. Will you be purchasing the DLC? Will you not be purchasing the DLC? Will someone else be purchasing the DLC with you? Are you game sharing or something like that? Tell me in that comment section down below. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Follow your boy on Twitter. We're almost at 800 followers. And also join the Discord, as it's over halfway to 100 members. If you want to support the channel directly, you can also become a member. It's just $2 a month. Just hit the little join button next to subscribe. It'd be highly appreciated. You earn loyalty badges and special emotes in live streams and premieres. There's also a link to merch in the description, which lets you flex your support for the channel. This has been your man Shadicstick, and remember, Hot Faraga turns to Cold Blizzaga. Make sure you check out some of my other videos. Peace, kiss, kiss.